right next to Canyonlands, Arches National Park, Lake Powell. Can't be better. My sister, I moved here 14 years ago this August when I got married. I married at midnight. He was your neighbor long before I was. And a long time ago, it was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, my sister calls me up and she says, I had this dream. It's awesome. Let me tell you about it. So she tells me this dream, and I'm like, that's fantastic. That's a great story. And she says, I want to write it down for my kids. I said, okay. She said, will you help me write it? Well, I have a natural talent for writing. It's not my favorite talent, but it's natural to me, so it comes really easy to me. And my sister doesn't. She has to work really hard for it, and she does. She works really hard to be a good writer. She said, will you help me write this? Sure. You write it, I'll edit it. No, I want you to help me write it. So I said, okay. And we started writing the story, and I would go to work, and on my off hours at work when things were quiet, I'd pull out the big legal sheet sized pieces of blank paper, and I would handwrite the story.
Oh my God.
So I have stacks of paper where front and back are handwritten for the story that my sister and I wrote together. And then I transferred to my laptop. And we, in the quiet hours, I'd just sit and write because I had nothing better to do at work. So that's how the book started. And then she said, as it came together, I'm like, honey, we need to really publish this. No, I don't want to publish it. I just want this for my kids. I said, no, this is a good enough story that we need to get it published. And it took a lot of talking to get her into that mode, but she finally agreed. And as we started finishing up the book, we started researching our publishers. Now, people will tell you it's hard to break into the publishing world. Don't believe them. Anything works. Anything goes. There's no rules. Absolutely no rules. Because at the Writers' Conference that I attend yearly, they give out an award for the person who has received the most rejection letters.
Yeah.
So, and most people will be rejected. But we were not. We picked our publisher, we filled out the requirements, and we sent it off. And it took probably 9 months before they got back to us and said, we want to publish this. So we had no rejection. And then they sat on it for 4 years. And then we finally got to editing, and it was published a couple years ago. So that was that one. And then as the book was doing really well, we decided we need to write the sequel. And so we sat down and we wrote the sequel in 1 month. It was ugly, but we did it. And then we refined it afterwards. It took a month to refine it. Sent it off to our publisher to see if they wanted it. They said yes. We're under contract to have it published next year. So, yes.
This is, I don't know if it's a good or bad question. Did you make a lot of money off of it?
Let me tell you, my last royalties check was not even enough to cover half of our electric bill. So don't, unless you're J.K. Rowling or Stephanie Meyer or Stephen King and you've got a lot of books out that are really, really, really super popular, you're not going to make a lot of money as an author. My husband likes to say it is a very expensive hobby. So, we wanted to talk about creative thinking and how creative thinking works in writing. Creative thinking actually works in all aspects of life. And so we're going to talk about vertical thinking. This is what we old folks excel at. This is what my parents excel at. You guys, not so much. But that's okay. Vertical thinking, you've got a problem. So you go through, all right, we need to figure out an answer. So we figure out this part. And then we figure out this part. And we figure out this part. And we figure out this part. But you guys excel at this, lateral thinking. We've got a problem. We're just going to skip these middle parts because it's kind of redundant. It's kind of not entirely necessary. You're just gonna skip down here and see if we can't get to a solution faster.
That's where it's at.
That is, I'm telling ya. You know who this guy is?
Oh, yeah.
Do ya?
No.
Boyan Slat. He is 19 years old, and he loves to dive. He's a deep sea diver, scuba diver. He found a problem. Millions of tons of plastic debris that are polluting the world's oceans, they collect in 6 masses in the middle of the ocean where the currents sit and rotate. Tons and tons, literally tons and tons and tons of plastic that are polluting the life cycle. The little teeny tiny shrimp that are eaten by bigger fish, that are eaten by bigger fish that eventually get to us, is being polluted by this plastic. The problem is the plastic is not static. It moves around. It doesn't sit in one place. It floats and moves. So the solution has been to spend billions and billions of dollars to get these great big ships out there to follow the plastic around and scoop it up. Boyan came up with this. Why move through the oceans if the oceans can move through you? Fix the seawater processors to the seabed and save vast amounts of funds, manpower, and emissions.
Wait, is that actually going on?
They are in the process of earning money to build this.
That's nice.
Impressive, isn't it? 19 years old. He came up with this before he was 19 because it was posted last fall. TED Talk. You guys watch TED Talks? Oh, go to YouTube, type in TED Talk and this kid's name, Boyan, and you will come, or Clean Seas, Clean Oceans. His talk will come up. Fantastic kid, smart.
So I take it he's gonna be making money.
I hope. Oh, well, that's another thing. He figured out a way to make that whole entire process profitable. You collect all of that plastic, and it's recyclable. So countries, people who invest in it will actually end up making money off of it and cleaning up the oceans at the same time. This is Jack Andraga. He is 15. The problem? Pancreatic cancer is undetectable until it's almost too late. Testing is difficult, costly, and time-consuming. He had a family friend who died of pancreatic cancer, and it worried him. It was so traumatic to him that he's like, how can a healthy person go from healthy, normal, to being a human skeleton in 6 months or less? So he started researching on the internet. He found a solution. A paper sensor that tests for pancreatic cancer biomarkers. The test is over 90% accurate. It costs 3 cents, and it only takes 5 minutes. The current tests are 60 years old. You have to have your blood drawn, you have to pay for your physician, you have to pay for your phlebotomist, you have to pay for the lab work, and then if it comes up positive, you know, you've got all that on top of it. This is a test that costs 3 cents, 90% accurate, and it can be taken at any time. Bonus, the test is also effective for detecting ovarian and lung cancer. He figured out how to do it. He's 15.
Where does he go to school at?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, like, is he American or?
He is. He's American.
Oh, that's what I mean.
So, lateral thinking. So how does this apply to writing? Can you think of any books recently, big books, that have applied this?
Hunger Games.
Very good. Hunger Games is not a new concept. There are hundreds of books out there with that same dystopian theme, but she looked at it in a different way and came up with something brilliant. Anything else?
Destiny King.
I don't know that one, but
Dawn.
don't know that one either.
Good book.
Harry
Good
Potter.
series.
Totally new perspective on the wizarding world. Vampires. Twilight.
Yeah.
I have not read the Twilight books, I haven't seen the movies, but I know that they're huge. I know that there's a big following for them. But vampires are centuries old. People have been writing about them forever. So somebody had an idea, took it, looked at it from a different perspective. So I want to talk about mental flexibility. You got to be able to look at things differently in order to focus your writing to be really good. We're going to have an exercise about good, bad, and interesting. We're going to look at a concept. Tell me something bad about disease.
You die. You can die.
Can die. What else?
It's expensive to deal with.
It's expensive to deal with.
The word is scary.
Scary. Anything else?
Zombies.
Zombies. We're all in danger of zombie apocalypse here. So what else? It can spread. All right, I want you to change your thinking a little bit. Tell me something good about disease.
Population control.
That's a good concept.
There's room to be cured.
Exactly. That's an excellent one. Disease can bring out innovations and cures.
War.
More?
War.
War. War?
Yes.
War is good for somebody. Not for the general masses, but somebody profits from it, right? It can kill other diseases. So tell me something interesting about disease.
Zombies.
It's complicated. What was that? Not all are harmful. Say that again?
They can mutate.
They can mutate. You guys are good at this.
Best group you've had.
Absolutely. All right, tell me something bad about illiteracy and poor education.
Creates stupid people.
Stupid people.
Well, they're not necessarily
Good job.
stupid.
Okay, ignorant
Can't
people.
get a
There you go.
good job. Ignorant people.
But ignorance is bliss.
What else is bad about it?
Not to those around you.
End up in poverty. That's a good one. Uneducated people are the majority of people that are suffering from poverty.
About time.
Tell me something good about it. Lose jobs? Build jobs. Menial jobs? Yep. Farm workers? Migrant farm workers that pick the crops for us? What else is good?
I can't think of saying anything that would be a little mean without being mean.
Be mean.
Yeah, go ahead, be mean.
Serious? Yeah.
Earn that permission.
Well,
Yes, Sam?
it gives us people to work at McDonald's.
No, you have to be able to read.
Say that again?
You have to be able to read if you work at McDonald's, so.
Not really, just.
It
Just
might
as
have
far
pictures
as,
on
yeah, they have pictures of the.
Illiteracy.
Or
They
for
have pictures of the
education.
buttons.
You learn.
There are pictures of
You
the.
know,
buttons.
one thing that was brought up in another class is, the more illiterate people are, the easier they are to control. So for somebody, that's a good thing, right?
But not for the person being controlled.
But
So there's a definite pro and con to that.
Right.
if they don't have enough education, they don't even know they're being controlled. So it's not that big a deal.
Ignorance is bliss, let me tell you. It is. It's easier to be ignorant and just float through life. You get nothing done, but then you have nothing accomplished. You just kind of float through there.
One thing that comes to mind reading this is the South.
Yeah.
Wait,
So
what, say that
like-
again?
The South,
What about it?
like, when you hear about
Illiterate.
illiteracy and poor education,
The South has
The
a
South comes to
stereotype.
mind more than anything else.
Midwest is actually some of the best with literacy. Just saying.
Just saying.
Just throwing it out there.
No,
Just,
I,
just by job.
Iowa has been noted for their great education programs.
In the area we have the most perfect, not, I can't think of the word.
Teachers?
No. How we talk.
Accent?
Verbal
Dialect.
fluency.
Yes, in America, North America.
Which word was it?
Like, we don't talk like this or
So
some
we kind
people
of
don't
jumped ahead
understand
and we're
accents.
discussing things that are interesting about literacy.
we
What-
get off topic.
No, that we're still on topic. What else would be interesting about illiteracy and poor education? Yes?
Lots of really famous and rich people don't have like college degrees and a lot of them don't have high school degrees.
That is interesting.
That's why we get people like Lindsay Lohan.
But that's also how we got Steve Jobs.
Oh.
Most of the
Albert Einstein,
It
too, right?
depends.
Yes, Einstein.
And Einstein. I mean, it really just,
Yeah,
it
they-
depends.
Those people kind of caught themselves. Like,
So they were.
It depends on what motivates a person.
They didn't have the greatest education when they were younger, though, like
But they
Einstein,
were
he didn't
smart.
like track education, yet he came up with the theory of relativity.
It depends on what motivates the person.
he
If
also threw a bowling ball at his
being a
sister.
socialite and fashion and things like that is their motivation, then yeah, they have, they can either take it to the dumb side of things, or they can take it to, I'm gonna build my own fashion line and it's gonna be fantastic, and I'm gonna learn how to do it. Or, I'm gonna just skate through life and just have a menial job because I can't make it in the education system. Or, I'm gonna figure out how to teach myself, and I'm gonna figure out how I can do what I am passionate about. It just depends on what drives the person as to where they're going.
You won't become accomplished if you go through education, get told what to do all the time.
We're gonna do this last one. Tell me something bad about murder.
Somebody dies.
People die.
Causes pain and suffering.
Pain and suffering.
It's kind of sad.
Messy.
Sad, messy.
Not all the time.
It can be.
It can be.
I watch too many
I
shows.
like my murders, and that's it.
All right, so tell me something good about murder.
Population control.
Population control.
You can kill the murder. Kill the murder. Population control.
Kill a zombie, or about to be a
We're
zombie.
back to zombies.
Creates jobs.
Creates jobs. That's true. It does.
Create
Solves country-to-country conflicts.
It can. It can solve country-to-country conflicts. Anything else? One more?
population control.
Population. Good. What's something interesting about it?
Can we say like?
Well, no one knows what happens to the person when they're murdered because what happens at the end. You know?
People
It
think
happens
they can
afterwards.
You can make it look, well, you can also make it look natural, because you can just inject air into somebody's vein.
Exactly. There are so many.
Did you know if you hit
A
people
wide
with
variety.
a sack of potatoes, there's no
Study your
bruises?
murdering tactics out
Same with soap.
Oh, right.
You could beat someone to death with a
We're gonna
pillow.
rein in our murder tactics here.
Thank you.
It tends to be a good basis for a lot of stories.
So the thing is, we need to start thinking of old things in a new way.
We're good at that.
So my writing exercise is sitting on the floor over here.
Is that a little fish in there?
It is.
That doesn't make sense because
It would die, it's being electrocuted right now.
It's not plugged in.
But will it?
With the filaments on.
what is this sorcery?
Oh, maybe it's an electric eel kind of a fish.
You know,
It's
10
all
years
like
ago,
plugged in, so.
10 years ago, if you had asked somebody if you could detect cancer in 5 minutes with a little tiny strip of piece of paper, they would have told you it's impossible.
What is this sorcery?
Exactly. So, is this impossible?
No.
We have to get fish in the bowl, or food in the bowl, so.
So we have, oh,
Do you
Yeah,
have
this is
a
a very big screw.
my notebook is in the inside pocket of my.
Maybe the filament is speeding.
The only way to film it,
But maybe what you did was, it's not actually a light bulb, what it is, it's
So this is your writing exercise. I love this exercise because you guys are brilliant. I have here in this bag a location. Have you guys done this before?
No.
No, it just said on the front already.
And this one is an object. So, at the top of your paper, or at the top of your screen, I want you to pick a name
Of what?
your character.
LaQuisha.
You're gonna write a story.
Marvel.
Remember, there's a random number or a name generator online.
If anyone wants to use LaQuisha, I am fine with it.
Do we need last names or just first names?
Just the first name is fine.
Okay.
Is there an item called population control?
I
on
put
that?
Sylvia.
No, there is not.
Okay.
Sylvia. Oh.
Did you say
All right.
Ishmael?
I am going to pass around, starting at this side, location. I want you to take a location and pass it on.
Uh-oh.
This is the location to where your story is going to take place. Do we need to write that?
Jamaica.
On this side, I am going to give you an object. Take an object and pass it on. This is the object that you are going to be required to use in your little story. You will have 5 minutes to write it.
Where's the cherry?
You will, some of, yeah. You know, in my other classes, the teacher collected them, and then they discussed them afterwards.
fitting.
I'm not gonna do that because I am not a chair. Right, Mr. Meyer? A what?
Oh, the
I
TARDIS.
don't know. Is that something with a turtle?
No, it is a spaceship. It is in the shape of a 1950s police box.
Oh, the TARDIS
But
from Doctor Who.
you walk in and it is,
You know exactly what it
You
is.
made me lost in shock because I have no idea. Can I have a new one, please?
Do I need an object and a location?
yes.
Oh, grab Carol one.
TARDIS.
Oh my god.
You made his day.
Wait, how
No, I
did you,
can work with the deserted island.
how'd you get,
The
oh,
object is coming from the other
oh, I
direction.
thought that
They
was
never
your
said
phone.
what's in.
Sorry.
A slingshot.
All right.
Do you guys get location?
Do you have
No.
machete?
So
I need one.
I am not above doing this assignment myself. So when my husband got home last night from work, I had him sit down and say, okay, give me a location.
What time is this that he got home?
He got home at 1:30 this morning.
Oh.
So I said, give me a location, and so he gave me a Greyhound bus. And I said, now give me an item. And he gave me a bouquet of roses. My character's name is Tinker. So this is what I came up with in 5 minutes. Tinker climbed the steps of the bus. The odor of stale vomit reached his nose. He was completely unprepared for the trip and wished he had time to buy a plane ticket. He moved to the back of the bus, past sleeping passengers, and found his seat. He threw his duffel in the luggage rack and sat down, carefully holding the wrapped package. Luckily, he had the seat to himself. He would have plenty of time to think about what he was about to do. He pulled at the wrapping and the unwieldy package and peeked in to see if the roses he had bought 2 hours ago had started to wilt. The lady at the shop promised they would last the 23-hour bus ride, but still, wilted flowers for his mail order bride.
Oh.
So, there's a whole direction where you could take that story.
Can, Mr. Upmeyer do this too?
Yeah.
I think we should have to.
Thank you.
I'll start as my object, I'm not seeing.
What about the state fair? Your what?
I have a Christmas tree on a deserted island.
Okay.
Yes.
Objects.
So here's an object, and I'll draw an object.
Investigators. I got an Antarctic phase.
I'm supposed to start.
I will give you
How long do we have?
5 minutes.
What if we don't get like that far?
It doesn't matter how far you get.
Do you see where my story is?
Oh. Just start something. Start with, you need your character's name, you need your location and your office. What's that?
The name actually has to be in the.
Yes, the name actually has to be in the story. Okay, ready, get set, go. got a minute to finish up. Okay. Who wants to read theirs first?
What if I don't wanna read
I wanna hear yours. I wanna know if you've got zombies in your story.
it? No, I did mine.
Yeah.
Sweet. I'm not a reader. It's not that great.
It doesn't have to be.
You want me to plug it in?
Oh, you-
What's that?
sure.
Or you're gonna read it?
You can.
That's what he asked you to do.
Oh, no. I
I'll
think
read
the
it
author
for
has
you,
to read it.
Sam.
You already agreed.
Yeah.
I'll read it for you.
You will?
Yeah.
Okay. Good hands.
Now, the only reason I say that, because sometimes the writer understands that, well,
The inflection better.
Okay, I'll read it. I'll read it.
LaQuisha walks down.
First of all, give us your location, your
I'm
object, and your character's name.
LaQuisha,
Okay?
a quiet street,
Okay?
and a cupcake. Hey. LaQuisha walks down the quiet street. There is no one in sight except for the man she has been looking for. He stands there awkwardly, not really doing anything. He looked a little nervous, as if he has done something wrong. The thing is, he has stolen LaQuisha's most prized possession, her cupcake. She slowly walks towards the man. He has not noticed her yet, for she has the footsteps of a ninja. She walks behind them, and the last words he ever hears is, "You're in the wrong neighborhood." And she shoots him in the back of the head. Sorry. She looks at him with troubled eyes and takes a cupcake, casually walks away, treating herself to the most favorite
Wow.
Was that good?
Wow, that was impressive. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm a little surprised there were no zombies though.
I was thinking about it.
Somebody else want to read theirs? Go ahead. First, your name, your location, and your object.
The name was Shay, the location was a bank, and the object was a hairbrush. Shay walked into the bank tugging at her sleeve. She knew it was a stupid joke and that she should have said no to her friends, but hey, how else was she supposed to fit into this new school, right? As she reached in her pocket for her weapon, otherwise known as the black hairbrush off her nightstand at home, she knew the security guard's eyes were on her. And she shivered, but calmly approached the teller and proceeded to stare out empty cash on his wall as she was going to shoot, and held up her jacket to show that gun in her pocket. The teller laughed a little and asked Shay to put her gun down and calmly replied, "If you can shoot with a hairbrush, I'd be surprised." Shay looked alarmed, and the lady told her that her so-called friends were probably in the back of the bank watching the security cameras laughing at her. See, what Shay had not been told was that those same friends had ostracized many naive girls this same way.
Excellent, thank you. Very good use. Anybody else?
Marshall have a good one. Well, don't interrupt Myra.
Would you like to share yours?
Want to hear mine?
Yeah.
Not really, but go for it.
Buddy, what were you thinking? Exclaimed his
Wait,
mother.
You didn't tell us.
Location?
Oh,
Name and
location, a water park, a cough drop, and the kid's name is Buddy.
Okay.
Buddy, what were you thinking? Exclaimed his mother. Sorry, Mom, it just fell out, he whimpered as they cleared the pool. By this time, the water park staff had most of the kids out of the pool. Children screamed, parents comforted sad boys and girls, and the water department employees just stood at the edge of the great wave pool and scratched their heads in amazement. The rainbow-colored foam rose in waves of floating clouds. The cloud grew and grew until the toilet bowl ride floated off its base and knocked over the concession stand sign. The falling sign hit the stack of inner tubes and exploded the foam mass in huge sprays of multicolored stickiness.
Oh.
Where
You
was
are
a
so
cough drop in
confused.
any of that?
It
Yeah.
didn't get there yet. The kid spit the cough drop out. It got stuck in all the works and
Awesome.
oh.
Everything seems down.
Now I get it.
One more? Yes.
I had Addison, a fishing pole in a copper mine. Addison looked ahead of her. Blackness filled the abandoned copper mine. She had to make it quick to package her brother left before sundown so she could meet up with her friends at the lake. Armed with a fishing pole, she made her way through the pitch-black mine, the pole acting as a guide to where she was stepping. She hit at the floors and walls with each step she took. It clanged on the rock. She heard the sound of bugs and other creatures of the night as they flew about. Spiderwebs stuck to her face, making her shake and shudder to think about what kind of huge, hideous spider had made the web. Suddenly she hit something. It sounded like it was scuttering away. It was low to the floor and it seemed to make little clicking noises as it went away from her. She realized she had her cell phone in her pocket and turned it on. The light shone on what appeared to be a large spider-type thing with sharp claws at each end of each leg. She hit it with her fishing pole. It jumped and clung to her face, its sharp knife-like claws plunging into her head and back. It bit her forehead, screeching as it bit. She slowly fell to the floor as the venom entered her, burning in every vein it made its way into. Darkness took her over.
That was deep.
Wow. Wow. Excellent use of a fishing pole, though. Thank you. We'll do one more. Just because I love hearing these stories.
My guy's name was Captain. My object was purple finger polish, and the place was the Italian restaurant.
What was the place?
An Italian restaurant.
Oh.
It had been a long day's voyage. A new day gave way to new town and new faces. I walked through the streets and could tell this was a humble town by the way people looked at me. I was a new face among those who knew each other, but this was a feeling I used to. After walking around a bit more, I found myself in a quaint little Italian restaurant. The man at the front desk pointed to a young woman standing to the side and said, "Vanessa, we'll be showing you to your table now." The young lady led me away to a corner booth. She had long flowing hair that was redder than the setting sun, and eyes that were bluer than the sea. And as she sat me down, I noticed that she was wearing purple fingernail polish. It was a nice touch, since that's my favorite color. She looked into my eyes and asked, "What's your name? I hadn't seen her around here before." I gazed back in a light tone and said, "That's because I'm not from around here, and you can call me Captain." She gives me a quirky look and says, "Well, Captain, how long are you in town for?" And I said, "No, actually, not long, actually, planning on leaving tomorrow morning." That's it.
Good.
I want to name my kid Captain.
That is good. You guys all have done very, very well. So we, my sister and I, what time does this class end?
Okay.
6 after.
Okay, 6 after? Okay. My sister and I, part of our contract that they send out, our publishers send out to us, it says you need to fill in this form and you need to fill in 5 innovative ways that you will market your book. And we were like, okay. We took it seriously. Come to find out, not other people that have been published by the same publisher. It's just meant there to kind of generate ideas. Really wasn't meant for us to take seriously, but we did. We took it very literally. And called my sister up one day and I said, "Jen, I've got this brilliant idea." She now cringes every time I tell her I've got a brilliant idea because it's usually time consuming and expensive. And she says, "What is it?" I said, "We need to make a music video. We need to make a music video about the book before it gets published." And she's like, "Okay." She's like, "We'll do it." Thinking, 6 months down the road, Stephanie will just forget about it. No. I had a location, I had a songwriter, I had a performer, long before she even, the 6 months were up. So we actually put together a music video for the book.
Do you have it?
Is it on YouTube?
It is on YouTube. Sure.
Austin, she's gonna show it, I think.
Well, actually,
Or,
yeah, it's on my laptop.
okay,
If you wanna, let me just run through these really quickly.
okay.
Books that I recommend, Mistborn. Has anybody read it? Fantastic book. It's a kind of a fantasy book where they use metals, different types of metals to perform different mystical tasks. Variant, anybody read Variant? Oh, fantastic book. Sequel is Feedback, both by Robinson Wells. His brother did I Am Not a Serial Killer.
Sounds like a fun book.
It is actually a good book. It's about a kid who is a sociopath, diagnosed sociopath, and how he tries to keep himself in check because he knows what he is, and it is a really good book. I have not personally read it. My sister has. It's not good. She loved it. Her kids loved it. Michael Bay loved this book. I loved this book. The sequel just came out this last fall, Michael Bay and the Rise of the Elgin. Michael Bay is a normal high school kid who has electrical powers. And so the other kids around the country have been collected that have other powers. They can see through walls, they can erase minds. And the Elgin have collected them. That's what Michael Bay is. The second one is about finding Michael's mother. Everneath. Everneath is a girl who is stolen into the underground, and she is given 6 months to come back and say goodbye, and then she has to go to the underground, the underworld forever. Kind of like, what's her name? Persephone, that's right. Same story, basically, totally new concept. Her problem is that the Dark Lord that spirited her away in the first place has come back to the world, in the real world, and is chasing her. So, The Maze Runner. Anybody read this one? Fantastic book by James Dashner. This is the Wings series by April Lynn Pike. If you like fantasy, a normal, ordinary girl finds herself an actual fairy, and she is the gatekeeper to Avalon. And this is the story of how she has to keep the world of Avalon secure. Freakling. It's a little on the young side, but I loved this book. It was really good. The kid, he has psi powers. Everybody in his city has psi powers. They can manipulate things and move things with telekinetic energy. An accident happens and he loses his psi powers, so he has to go to the Dud Farm, which are normal people that do everyday normal things with their hands. And he discovers that even the powerless people have secrets, and he accidentally leaks one of them, which threatens everybody. Good book. This one is fantastic. I loved this book. I read it the first time. I was so thrilled. By the time I got to the end of the book, I was like, what? It was so well written that I read it again the second time just to see if she had left any clues along the way as to what was really going on. Great book. She is a fantastic author. She has a second book out, The Runaway King. I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to pick it up next month. My Fair Godmother and My Unfair Godmother. If you want to know what it would really be like to be in a fairy tale, she gives you a dose of reality. It's cute, and it's a lot of fun. You would not suspect fairy tales to be like that. This one, The Knight of Redmond, comes out this month. This is my sister's new book. Very excited about it. I read it, I helped her edit it. Very good book.
Where'd she get the honk?
You know what? That's what almost everybody says the first time they see the book cover. He's good looking. And this is ours. Mark of Royalty. And our second one, the working title is Mark of Loyalty, but but they will most likely change that title. So,
Alright, I'll let you find.
it's right on my desktop, it should be easy enough.
Is it like rap, good rock,
You know,
Wicca?
the assignment for Thursday would be to finish the story that you've started, okay? So make sure you save it
Which Thursday?
next Thursday, a week from tomorrow. So you've got a week to finish it. So we've gotta do the kid story, we've gotta do for Tuesday the kid story,
This
and,
story?
yeah, we're
That is
finishing.
finished, isn't it? If we wrote an ending to it.
I'm not done.
Well, there's
Yeah, I'm done.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm done.
Mine's not
That-
done, that's
The
for
picture
sure.
she has is the darkest.
Because mine, she's supposed to confront the
I haven't even gotten to the cough drop wrapper yet.
I just did a quick short story.
We should do this for the first 5 minutes of every class.
You know, and you're right, you know, there are lots of things in, you're right.
Don't go to reach.
No, no.
Ah,
Yeah,
Oh, speakers.
Yes.
it's about to go down.
This is gonna run long, so I just want to tell you guys that, you know, this presentation, we've done bits and parts for other schools, but this presentation was done specifically for you guys. I want you to know that anything's possible. Your dreams are possible. We did not go in with the intention of writing a book or making a music video. Our book did so well. We were told by our publisher, if a book sells 5,000 copies, it's considered a good seller. We sold our first 5,000 copies within in the first 5 weeks, and they had to go into the second publishing. Anything is possible, you guys, really. So it just depends on where you put your energy, where you put your passions. So, you know, take it for what it's worth. You guys can do anything you want.
Where was this filmed at?
This was filmed at an amphitheater in Provo, Utah.
Little kids. Where did you get all this stuff?
We worked really hard to get it.
And how many days?
What? We filmed it all in 1 day.
1 day film.
My own world, like there's so much more to be.
This is an original song.
And
Yes.
here
Written
I
just for us.
try to regain my strength to obtain that
Is that tattoo real?
No. That's his lineage tattooed on his